Mm. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are live. That's right. I said it. We are live. And yes, people, Randall will not be joining us this morning. He does have another doctor's appointment for his knees. This is going to be several treatments that he has to undergo. For his knees. So I just want to let you guys know good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Alma. Thank you for joining us this morning, sister. Thank you for joining me, Alma, over the weekend. I really appreciate your support. Alma, you always are doing something. You really are. I really am grateful for you. You always on point. You always on time. I'm just forever grateful. Right now, I want to go into a bit of I want to go into a breathing and prayer because we do have a guest that I'm not going to hold. I do have a lot going on today. This is an off day for me, only because it is Juneteenth and we have to acknowledge the company that we are contracted under. They didn't want to have the work that I normally do on a day-to-day basis done today because of the fact that it is Juneteenth, a nationally recognized, let me rephrase that. It's a recognized, nationally now recognized holiday. And so companies are going to have to adhere to it going forward. Maybe right now, maybe today, this year might a little been a little stifled, but going forward, they're going to have to adhere to it as a national holiday, just like any other holiday that they have to adhere to, except for those like in the industry that I'm in, where you're in risk management and you're dealing with people's accounts and all this kind of stuff. That's a 24-hour, 7-day a week job, no matter what holiday it is. So I'm forever grateful to have you guys join us, and I'm forever grateful to be here this morning, and forever grateful to have the guest that I have on, which has joined me. Let me give you guys a little insight before I go into prayer. My guest is from the East Coast, and they have joined me this morning on behalf of Bobby Norman and Samuel Kubich. They were on their show over the weekend, Saturday morning. I would happen to be listening in, and it's amazing how God works. But I happen to be listening in on her show Saturday morning, which sometimes I'm able to listen in on her show, and sometimes I'm not able to listen in on her show. This Saturday I was. She had a very interesting guest, and I said, "Hey, I want to bring him on the show and just enlighten people a little bit more on certain things in the industry of acting, as well as writing, and just to talk about a person who has had what you call from one end of the spectrum to the other, because actually it's two different spectrums from where this guy comes from. So we will be talking about that this morning. Jonathan, thank you for joining me this morning, you and Delma. Right now, everybody, let's go into prayer real quick so I can bring my guest on board. As you guys know, when I pray, you all know I want to inhale a good deep breath and exhale, and then inhale again, exhale. We're going to do it 3 times, 3 deep breaths, and exhale, 3 exhales, and then I go into prayer. Shall we start? Inhale, hold it, exhale, inhale, hold it, exhale, inhale, hold it, exhale. Heavenly Father, thank you once again for another brand new day. Hallelujah. Thank you for waking us all up in our right minds and good health and good strength this morning, Heavenly Father. Thank you for the guide and the direction. Thank you for the holidays we all were able to enjoy with our family members and our favorite ones. I just thank you for life, ever more so. Thank you for allowing us to have the liberty and the luxury of life. the longing and, and the loosening of the limbs and all that we use. And just thank you, Heavenly Father, for all things and everything, for the life, for the luxuries, for the laughter, for the living, for learning, for lessons, for everything, Lord, for everything that goes on in our lives and in the lives of our family members. We are forever grateful that you protected us through the night, woke us up with the morning light, protected our homes, our businesses, our places of employment, our families, our property. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lord, as we go about our day to day, we ask that you go before us. Whew, clearing the roads that we travel and the grounds that we tread upon and the airways that we may be flying through, making our arrivals of destination safe, sound, and complete. Heavenly Father, we thank you. We thank you for safety. We thank you we just thank you for being able to praise your holy name. We thank you for faith. We thank you for healing. We thank you for deliverance. We thank you for all the things that we need right now. Hallelujah. In the name of Jesus, we all pray and say, Amen, amen, amen. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for all things and everything. And thank you, each and every one of you out there, for being here again today. Today is Juneteenth. Yes, it is. Good morning, Rosalind. Good morning, Divine Designs. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's bring on our guest. We have Robert Sear, who we are bringing on this morning. Good morning, Robert. Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. How are you, Neela?
I can't complain. I can't complain. Thank you for joining us this morning on In My Element with Neela. And Turk is not here this morning, unfortunately, but fortunately for him and unfortunately for us. He
Well,
is having not knee surgery, but so to say, but
mm,
he's having some filler put into his knees so that he can have a little bit more flexibility. And so he's excited. So I'm excited for him. But Robert, we're here today because you have an interesting story. And I want to first start out by saying your name is Robert Sear.
mm,
You're from the East Coast,
New York.
New York, and you have worked in the security industry for how many years now?
It was 20 years when I retired from the banking industry,
Wow.
and my job was as the manager of security.
Manager of security. Wow. So that's almost like being a director over that department almost because you're
Mm.
overseeing quite a bit. So when you worked at the bank, what all did you do as the manager of security? What did that entail you to do? Did it entail you to be involved with the people of the bank, the customers, or the employees, or both?
Well, it was not a customer base as we weren't a storefront bank. So in my case, it was staff, it was employees, and my responsibility was with access control. So it was automated, it was software based, it was hardware based, but it was also physical security. So we had security officers that maintained in a console setting, eyes on everything, all our floors, anywhere that was a risk in security. And that's a big word. I think you just said it a few minutes ago, risk management. Risk
Yeah.
management has become a really big item in terms of every aspect, whether it's banking or not. Risk management is probably one of the highlight areas of everybody's industry because it gives you an opportunity to check and see what, if anything, needs to be addressed. Why wait till something goes wrong if you can find out about it before the fact? And that's what risk management does. It tests the risks. It wants to see what it can find. And my job, although it wasn't directly related to risk management, but I took it upon myself. This was something that I was very studious to, that I don't want to wait until something goes haywire, sideways. I want I want to make sure that we're working not just according to the SOP, but also you have to have a relationship with the people who you work with. If they don't trust you, you could sing all day long SOP. They want to know, do you have their back?
Yeah, you're right. You definitely are right about that. You're right about that. Do you have their back? In being with that industry for so long, I know you're well missed. I already know.
Well, believe it or not, I miss it. I really do, because you're a part of something. And
Yeah.
when that's absent, you feel the loss. So I miss my colleagues. I
Oh,
really do.
yes.
But these things happen. Life moves on. It will move on with or without you. So you better just adapt and go along with the program. And
You
and
got
and
that right.
what I do now was such an incredible reward for me, to go from what I used to do to thinking that when I retired, I was finished. Really, I really thought, I said, oh, I guess that's it. I'm done. And then this happened.
Yep, yep, yep. And so then, as you said, you are right. You do miss your coworkers. You miss the activity. Put it that way. You miss the activity that you did on a daily basis.
Mhm.
And even though it might have not, if for some it's repetition, for
Mhm.
some it's not repetition, or it's repetitious acts and deeds that you have to do, but with
Mhm.
different people. So it makes it all the
It
more
seems new.
interesting.
It's
Yeah.
new to every person. I think I may have mentioned it on the Saturday interview with Sam and Bobby, that I kept, this was very responsible for me. I had to do this. I always remembered my first day when I started, whether it was at the bank or any job before that. I remember my first day in the Navy when I started recruit training in Great Lakes. You remember your first something.
Yeah.
I remember my first day at work, and I remember what I wouldn't do. And I said, I'm not going to do that. Because a person, when they start their first day, it is probably the most stressful time of your life, because you've got to get to know new people. You want to be comfortable. You don't know, you may know the job that you're doing, but you don't know the work that you're getting yourself into.
Right.
So you want to feel comfortable. And I tried to make that my thing, that when somebody came in, because I was usually the first person that they would see. Our reception would bring them to us, or would call me. I would go to them, bring them to me, and I'm there taking their picture, setting up their access. Now, it could be something as simple as says, "Here's your card, go, and good luck." But I didn't want to do that. I didn't think that was a fair way to get a person started. So I would sit there, I would crack jokes, I would try to have fun, make it loose, make it light, because there's a lot of spent up pressure there for this person. And if you don't show them that respect, then they're thinking to themselves, oh my God, what kind of a company am I working for? So I made that up my own responsibility. I took that upon myself.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. So Robert, I heard you say after a while, and you go in there and you start missing it, but then life took a turn, a change in a direction for you. You went from retiring from
Mm,
security
mm.
to what?
To writing, well, actually acting at first. Uh, and when I say I retired, I was kind of helped along the way, because the bank was doing restructuring. It was trying to find a different parameter than the one that they had, and
Mhm.
I got caught up in that. So as a result of it, they showed me the way, and I took that as retirement, because I knew that at my age, I wasn't going to get another job. I mean, it was going to be literally impossible to get another job at 61 years old. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to look, I'm going to try, but if it doesn't happen, I better just face the facts that this is my new life. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, this thing happens. And I'm like, really? You would, I could never have imagined anything like this going on. This is crazy. This is like a story in itself.
It was so funny
I couldn't have
listening
written
to
a better
you
story for
Saturday.
myself.
It was so hilarious listening to you Saturday. I love Bobby, Norman, and Sam. I
Yeah.
love them dearly with my heart. I really do.
Is
Uh,
Bobby on or is Sam on? Are they
no,
there?
I don't see him on right now
Oh
yet.
man,
I
I
don't see him
wanted to
on
have a
yet.
lot of fun with Bobby right now because I told her, I don't know if you remember, I told her before the show went off that I was going to wear a different shirt because I had a little fun with her. So I hope that she gets a chance to watch this so I can say, hey, Bobby, I changed my shirt from Saturday.
See, you know what? My shows, you can always catch them later. So if she doesn't get a chance to see it, I don't know if she's working this morning. Juneteenth is a national holiday, but I think
Hmm.
this is the first year that it is made a national holiday, isn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
to my
lot
knowledge,
of,
yes.
yeah, a lot of companies and schools all have to adjust
It'll
to,
take a while. They'll catch up. It'll take
yeah,
a while. I mean,
yeah,
think about how long it took for many industries to catch up and do Martin Luther King, and there's still companies that don't do it.
yeah.
I mean, not the way they should, but it's a national holiday. Now,
Mhm.
my wife, this doesn't affect her at all because she has to bid for her holidays, so that she doesn't get any. She's got to bid for them. She doesn't just get them automatically. So she has to bid, and she gets the vast majority of them, but she doesn't get them all,
She has
unfortunately.
to bid like they're a casino or something. What's really
Yeah,
going on?
yeah. Hey,
What
there's the
kind of work
winner.
does she
There's the
do?
winner.
Right. That's why you said she had
Yeah,
to bid for
she
like you
does.
know, like a Russian roulette or something. What kind of work does she do?
Well, it sounds like she's working for a third world country, but it's not. She's actually working. She's a VIP agent for American Express Global Travel, and her client is Disney. So she's
Oh,
like she books all the travel for talent and their upper management. So when I got this is kind of funny. When I got started doing this, I said, baby, one of these days you might end up doing my travel plans.
and she did.
Well, she could. It hasn't happened yet, but it's anything's possible.
Anything's possible. You right about that. So Robert, you went from security,
Mhm.
now you're in acting. How did you this is one of the things that I know for a
Mhm.
fact. How did you transition into
Well,
acting?
you know what? I wouldn't know. I don't know if I could call it a transition. What happened is I was in Midtown one day. I was hanging out somewhere because I was retired, and I was hanging out near Penn Station in New York, and I struck up a conversation with somebody who was herself an actress, and had done various jobs in acting, both
Mhm,
theatrically and on film.
mhm.
And so she said, "You know what you should do just to kill some time?" I said, "No, what?" So why don't you apply? Because it was right down the street. Apply for a TV extra. And I says, "Really?" I said, "Because I've heard that that's a lot of hard work. Because you could sometimes be standing around 12 hours, 14 hours a day, and it's exhausting. And you don't have that same accolades that you have as an actual actor with dialogue." I said, "Gee, why in the world would I want to do that?" But I said, "Okay, you know what? Who's to say? Who knows? I'm gonna do it." I think I was in 4 TV episodes as in background, so you're not going to find me. I was in background, and then that's here's where the transition took place. In the building where my wife and I live, we both live in a co-op building,
Mhm.
and there was a gentleman there who you may know or you may not know. I know Sam knows him, Bobby knows him, Lester Green, and Lester lived in the same building with my wife and I. And just before they moved, and I'm talking about maybe a week or 2 weeks before he moved to Atlanta, we met, and we met through our doorman for the building. Had that not happened, none of this would have happened. None of this would have happened. That
And who was
chance
Lester
meeting.
Green?
Lester Green is himself an actor. You have to look him up, and you have to have him on your show because this guy is unbelievable. He's got an established acting career, and me as a writer, one of my goals, and it's going to happen. One of my goals is to write a script, feature-length script that he acts in, because he's the guy who brought me in. He's the guy that made all of this happen. He invited me on the set of 2 of his independent films. He didn't have to do that. He invited me and he says, you know what? You seem like a nice guy. I want to invite you in. I even want to give you some lines. I says, lines? Really? I says, okay. You know what? Was the transition. It went from retirement to doing background work as an extra to then acting in a couple of roles, nothing huge,
Wow.
but then the transition into writing. Because Lester and I, we would talk all the time, and he would say to me, you know, I got this idea for a movie. And I said, yeah, let me hear it. And then as he's talking, I'm like, well, yeah, you know, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And then he's looking at me and says, you sound like you could do this. I said, yeah, I think I could create, which I can. But what I didn't have is I didn't have the ability to create dialogue. That came through me purchasing a script writing program. And then all of a sudden, all of these things opened up. All of these things came to life. So the tools that I didn't have, I got. And once I got them, I've just been out of control since. And I'm having a lot of fun. So I'm going to get my wish. I'm going to get my wish. I want to get him in a film that I write. And you know, and my other wish, I want him to win an Academy Award through something that I wrote. Now that would be
wow.
Fun. Can you imagine?
Well, of course, right?
Goal. That's a lofty goal.
Yes, it is. But you know what? Hold on to it, because it's not like it can't transpire.
It
you know what I'm
happen.
saying?
It could happen.
Right.
It's possible.
Hold on to that.
I mean, I would like to see him win an award, irregardless. But it would be nice to be able to say, "Hey, I did that."
Going into some of the holidays, some of the comments, Divine Design, which is my co-host's girlfriend, she said, bid for a holiday? And question mark. She finally heard what that was all about, though. Then Jonathan Branch is one of our viewers as well, he and his wife, and he's on the East Coast as well also. And he said, yes, he works with a hospital industry, and he is a cardiac nurse. How can I say it? Well, yeah, he's a nurse of cardiology, and dealing with the heart. So he says, yes, we have to choose 2 major holidays and 2 minor holidays to work or be on call. Wow.
Correct. That's her life. That's her life. Yeah. And she works a lot of hours. I mean, she would put me to shame. She works a lot of hours. She works sometimes 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, because the industry is such right now, with the airline industry being what it is right now. She's losing her mind. I mean, I want to do this. I want to make this happen, not just for me, but I want to make this happen for her, so I can send her home, that she doesn't have to do this anymore. That's my goal. I want to be able to create a successful after private sector. Something that I can say, hey, baby, you don't have to do that no more, because I'm not only am I now retired, but I'm also making more money than I made before when I was working. You know, because you don't make a lot of money doing this. You survive, but you're not making a lot of money. But with this writing, you can make a lot of money. And I'm not all about the money, because you're about your artistic work. Exactly. You know, you have to love what you do. If I didn't love this, I wouldn't do this. I really enjoy doing this. But, you know, if somewhere along the line, if this can also catch me some financial gain, I wanted to benefit my wife as well as me.
Divine says she can't wait to see you walk on that stage for that award. It's in the making.
Yeah.
It's already made. It's just the timing. It's got to be put in place where you're going to walk on that stage. It's already there. It's already there, because you just spoke it into existence.
Well,
and
I,
you
and I
believe it.
do. You have to. You know, you
You
have
have to
to.
believe it. Right.
This has been. I think for me personally, I've never been one that can speak about myself. I'm not good at it. I'm getting better at it, but I'm not good at it. I'm not somebody who can pitch myself.
Oh,
I can't do that. It's kind of outside my comfort level. I'd rather do it for somebody else, but I don't feel comfortable doing it for me. And my wife and I, we have these discussions all the time. She says, "Honey, sometimes you are your worst enemy
you are.
because you need to start." Yeah. So
I'm agreeing with your wife because let me tell you why.
yeah.
You right now are sitting right here on In
Mm-hmm.
My Element with Neela on
Mm-hmm.
a talk show. I'm global, so anybody can see my show. I have people that watch it from United Kingdom. I was trying
That's
to
the
say
place we
Europe.
want to go. We want to go. I've never been to the UK. My wife has been. I've never been. I want to go. I want to
So
go see
there's
it.
people that watch my show over in the
Mm.
UK. There's people that watch my show in Dubai. There's people that watch my show in the Philippines. They might
Wow,
not be on right
I've
now
been there.
because
Now
of
there
time
I've
difference,
been. There I've been. There I've been.
but they watch my show because I have connections with those people. So I just want to say this. If you could be on this show
Hmm.
and you can tell us all of what you do, you
Hmm.
just sold yourself. That's your pitch.
That's my pitch. I like
That's a
that.
pitch.
I
It
like
really,
that.
it's just how to it's just learning how to trim it and edge it and put it in the
Yep.
right little cubicle that it needs to be in and be able to deliver it
I
in a
just want to
shorter
build
amount
my. I
of
want to
time.
build my ego.
All of
I
what
want to
you do.
build my ego. That's all. I got to build my ego.
Your ego is built. You
Yeah,
got the ego you need. You just sat here and gave
I hear
us
you.
all of this information.
Right.
You have the pitch. It's just a 30 second to 60-second pitch, elevator pitch, they call it,
Mm.
where you just combining all of that into a briefer version of
Yeah.
introduction. It's just a brief introduction of who you are, what you're doing, and where you're trying to go with it.
You know what? There's an app. There's an app that I found. I can't remember exactly how I found it, but I just started tuning into it recently, and it's all of these various different people from various different parts of the world, actors, writers, producers, directors. I want to spend more time on that because it seems like all of the connections on there are really worth it. So I don't know how many actors and actresses or directors, producers are listening to your show, but I would welcome them to at least check out. The app is called Stage 32, and just through some of the articles that I've read, it's I find it very intriguing the success that you could have just by contacting somebody who you don't know. I mean, look at what social media has done for everybody through
I
that.
I talk about that all the time, Robert, how I am so forever grateful that well, it has done a lot. It has also done a lot in a negative way, but it's done a
Hmm.
lot in a very positive way. It has brought tons of people together from
Hmm.
across, I mean, from different areas, from different
Yep.
corners of the world. It has brought us
Hmm.
all together into this little melting pot because
Hmm.
everybody's on here, right? But
Yes.
then you had social media that has knocked down the human interaction
Hmm.
of people
That's the negative.
being able to that's the negative of it, the
That's
human
the negative
interaction
of it.
that we've lost
Yeah.
because we're so busy.
Well, you know what? Remember the
You
old
know,
saying about playing nice in the sandbox as a kid? It transcends into adulthood. That if you don't know how to play nice in a sandbox, the only way that you get to do that is as a kid growing up, and you get to mix up with different people, not only different people, different cultures. That's how you develop that ability to coexist with others. And I think what you see now today, to your point, people are on the phone all the time. It's taking away that ability to communicate with each other verbally. So what used to come easy what used to be like tying your shoe is not so easy anymore.
No,
And
it
as
sure
we get
is.
older, and as we're getting older, and as more things become more and more automated, I'm afraid to say that that could be even less as we all get older, because
Yeah.
these kids are our future. You
Yes,
know,
they are.
yeah.
Yes, they are. They are definitely our future. I want to go into this one more quick a question. She said that stage 32, and so it is the word stage and the number 32. I just went into my app store, and it is a social networking
Yes.
app. And it's got scriptation. Um, there's quite a bit of stuff for it, but Stage 32 is an app you guys might want to connect. It has 800 plus creatives in film and television, and I have it. We have online with us a young lady who does write as well, and it's my co-host's girlfriend, and she writes also, and so I know she was interested in knowing about that. Let me see what a couple of these comments are saying. Yes, that was Stage 32, Divine. Rosalind, yes, thank you for joining us. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Definitely, Rosalind. And Be the Difference. Thank you for joining me this morning, Be the Difference. So yeah, she says she can't wait to see you. Divine says, what an inspiring testimony, especially for us who sometimes feel like it's too late.
It's not too
You know,
late.
you know that you're 61.
Well, I'm
So
65 now. I'm
you're
65
60.
now. So, I mean, come on. I mean, if I can do this, anybody can do this.
Okay. Robert, we got to stay in touch because I love to act. I wanted to get into the acting career. I really do. I've always wanted to do it. It's just that financially, I was not set to be able to do it. I still ain't, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna work my way in, work my way in there. So I always wanted to do that. Let me see if there's some more. Okay, so one of my other questions for you is, how did you start? Okay, Lester Green got you involved in the acting.
In fact, I'm going to pitch it. I always do this. I pitch his book. That's Lester Green. It says, "Act like you love yourself."
Act
And I
like
do that because that's how much respect that I have for him. And it's a book that I think not only adults but kids should read, because I think a lot of times we do self-defeat ourselves because we don't love ourselves.
Yeah.
Or we let people say things about us that are not true, and we believe it because it's easy to believe the
And we
bad
take it to
stuff,
heart.
right? It's
Yeah.
easier to believe the bad stuff.
Yes. Yes, it
You know,
is.
so
And you know what? It's funny you said that because we don't love ourselves. Because one of the things on my show when I end is that's one of the things that I go into is that God loves you. You and me and everybody need to learn to love
and
ourselves a lot
sometimes we have to
more
forgive
so
ourselves.
that we can love
Sometimes we
each
have,
other.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
and also
Yes.
forgive ourselves because I
Yeah.
think we
Oh,
hold so much guilt, so many things that happen in our lives, and listen, I'm guilty of that. I'm not perfect.
me too.
I think sometimes you have to just take a step back and say, you know what, give yourself a break because you're doing something. You're not just standing still. You're doing something. Make it count, but also believe in yourself and love yourself. And I think that's what he did here. And I think that if anybody has a chance, if you can get that book, I would purchase it without a doubt.
Rosalind says, stop listening to others' negativity of oneself. Hey,
That's
you
right.
all, don't forget, hit those thumbs up for me on the inside, okay? Everybody on YouTube and Facebook, hit those thumbs up. Hit like on Facebook, thumbs up on YouTube. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It helps us with the algorithm of the show. Rosalind said, yes, stop listening to others' negativity of oneself. That is so important, Robert. And I got to tell you something. That young man, Lester Green, that's amazing. I do want him on my show. I have
You
seen
really
him.
do.
I have seen him on a few things. And speaking of that, I had something with that book on it. It was a little
Mhm.
flyer thing. That was it. You know how you have a picture or like a collage of books? That was one of the books that was on there. Now I wish I could find that flyer because that's amazing what you just put up. I was like, when you did that, I was almost stunned. I was like, that book was on that flyer. I'm like, that's that guy's face on the flyer. So now I'm connecting the dots. Okay. Um, you started writing though. This is what I want to get into.
Mhm.
How the heck did you start just writing shows and scripts? What possessed
Well,
you to do that?
to be perfectly honest with you, I think it was always there. I think it was always there. I was actually writing a book about how my wife and I met, because my wife and I, and please, whatever you do, don't ask me how did you guys meet, because oh boy, you're gonna have to give us a whole nother hour, and you have things to do today. But I started I started writing a book about how we met. So I think a lot of that was already there. It's just that when I had retired and then I met Lester, and then we started talking about different ideas, storylines, it was like the lights went off. It was like, oh my God. So the only thing that helped me, well, there was a lot of things that helped me, but the one thing that really helped me was when I purchased, and I'm going to say the name because I have nothing to be ashamed of, Final Draft. It is the industry standard for script writers. Industry standard. If you submit a script to somebody written from Final Draft, your chances of success have just grown exponentially because it formats everything for you. It has this tool set that will take you step by step of everything that you need to know and everything that you need to do, including tutorials. The tutorials were incredible. When I was done, and I didn't even finish looking at all of them.
Is it a book or
No, it's an
online?
actual software program. You go
Oh,
online,
Final Draft is a
yeah,
software program.
yeah. You go online and you find it. If you're a writer and you want to write dialogue, and I never knew how to write dialogue before, and you want to know how to write dialogue, you purchase that program.
So, Robert, how did you even know to look for that?
I'm gonna have to give it up to Lester again because that's how incredible this guy is. He
Hey, look.
sends he sends me a link. He sends me a link. Hey Rob, I got this link. I want you to look at. It's about a writer, and and he didn't know what it was, so he sent it to me. I watched it, and this is a writer, and she was really selling the idea about Final Draft and all the advantages to it, and she got me thinking. And then I watched it again, and then I watched it again. I says, wow. The more I kept watching it, the more I wanted to watch it again. And I says, wow. So I said, you know what? Heck with it. I'm buying it and let the chips fall where they may. And then as I started doing my homework, I was looking at all the success stories from people who themselves purchased this program. And I'm not trying to down anybody who has any of the others. I don't know any of them. This is the only one that I know.
So, how much did it cost you, Robert, to purchase that program? Do you
Well,
mind sharing that?
for me, because I was a veteran, because I'm a Navy veteran, it
Okay.
cost me, I think it was $129. I think normally, I think it's like 179. But once you purchase it, it's yours. You don't have to pay for it every year. It's yours. It's yours for good. I
Does
know
it
that,
update? Does it update on
yes,
its own initially? It
it,
updates
it,
and
it
you get all
updates.
the
It updates.
updates.
I've already had several updates myself. Now, there's this one big update that they just launched a few months ago called Final Draft 12. Now, I haven't got it yet because a lot of my scripts are all written in Final Draft 11. And not that there'll be any problems with the update or the upgrade, but I'm trying to, I think I'm trying to convince myself, do I want to pay the extra money for the upgrade? I think the answer very shortly is going to be yes. Uh, I think the Final Draft 12 is probably even less than the 11 that I purchased back in 2020.
So you don't get the initial, okay, you get the upgrades to software.
Well, no,
but not to initial
if you purchase
upgrades
it
to the
now,
full
they're going to give
draft
it to you. They're
itself.
going to give you 12 right now. So you're
Oh,
not going
if
to be
you
going
buy
back.
it, they're going to give you all final draft
Yeah.
1 through 12.
Well, exactly. So you're going to get everything, everything. And in fact, I was looking at some of the upgrades that they did in it, and I was like, wow, I have to do this. How could I not?
I want to keep in touch with you, if you don't mind. I mean,
No, of course
personally,
not. Of
keep in touch with you.
course not.
There's people I know who write and who
Hmm.
have written hellacious, hellacious work. I want to introduce you to them. I want them to talk with you. I want them to get some more information, and you all can share information
Hmm.
because you're both in the industry. And so
Hmm.
I would love to keep in touch with you.
Hmm.
Tell your wife I might be giving you a couple of phone calls every now and then, okay?
Oh, you got
And
it.
then let her know.
You
I,
got it.
it
In
just,
fact,
it's,
there's a writer right now, who lives in California and LA, and we struck up a conversation, and we were talking about different things. We were going to co-write this one script, and I could see that he really had an idea of what he wanted to do. And I said to him, I said, why don't you just purchase Final Draft? You know the dialogue, you know what you want to do. It's not that I don't want to help you, and it's not that I don't want to benefit, but I think each writer should take command of their own life. And this is one way to do that. So that's what he did. He purchased it. And he's got the one ahead of me. He's got the 12. I still got the 11. So he's doing better than I am.
did he appreciate
Oh yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
suggestion?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, Robert, but I didn't get the question answered the way
Oh,
what
okay,
I'm
good.
looking
What?
at. You started writing, and you said Lester got you to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But how did he get you to start?
Mm-hmm.
What am I trying to say? What made him know that you knew how to write?
I don't know if he did. I'm not sure. You know what? I've never asked him that question. I just think maybe for him something flipped the switch. I don't know.
Wow.
Maybe it was the discussion that we had. He was talking to me about an idea for I think it was a taxi cab, and all of the things I was coming up with he was like, what? You know, so it was like I was one boom, boom, boom,
You
boom.
mean
boom.
another rendition of the sitcom
Just
Taxi?
that one idea. No, not Taxi, not the TV show. It was a movie idea that involved a taxi, and I took that and I ran with it, and I started putting building blocks. I was building all of these things, and he was like, "Huh? Are you kidding me?"
So
I said,
you were literally building scenes.
"Mhm. Yeah," and I didn't even know I was doing it. I didn't even know that I was doing it. So when I purchased Final Draft, I had already handwritten some stuff, and so that once I got Final Draft, it was just that much easier for me. I was plugging and playing. I was like, oh my God, look, I can't believe it. Uh, I don't know what to say. It's kind of like, you know, one day you just wake up and you all of a sudden you're like, wow, why wasn't I doing this like 20 years ago?
I wake up every day to say that. why didn't I do XYZ 30
Yeah,
years ago?
yeah, yeah.
I wake up and
Well,
say that quite a bit. But you know what? I have to catch myself because a lot of I've had spiritual people in my life who have said, don't say, oh, I wish I'd have did this 20 years ago. Because
no, I don't do
it
that.
was over. They
I
say,
don't really do that.
oh,
I
now
don't
that
really
I
do that.
learned this, I think I want to start doing this now because
the minute you start messing with time, and
right.
if you have the ability to go back and change something, you might be changing something for the worse. You might make it worse.
And that's
You
the
know?
point they were getting at with me about it was all about time.
Yeah.
And they said, stop sticking to time. Time is what's weighing you down. Don't ever look back over your past and regret it.
Well, see,
Always
I
think,
used to do that.
yeah, I did too, Robert. You're not
Uh,
guilty by
oh my
yourself.
God.
We in that guilty boat together, honey. I'm
I'll
gonna be
tell you.
honest with you.
I'm going to tell you a real quick story. I said I wasn't going to do this. I'm going to break my promise. I'm going to do it anyway.
All right.
On the day that I saw my wife for the first time, which was at the railroad station where we live, I was sitting there and I was beating myself up over things that had happened over the last 20 years or more. And I was really kicking myself in the butt over all of it, as if somehow I had control to fix it, because I didn't. So I was living in the past of all of these. And as soon as my wife passed me by, I've always said, and I've even written this because I actually have a storyline to how we met. I just have to finish it. And I talk about how it was like as if time stood still for a moment. That just for that brief moment, it was as if everything just stopped, and it was like, they say that when you fall in love with somebody, it's as if time stood still, and that's what the reaction that I got. And I chased her for several weeks, but I couldn't speak to her because I was so nervous about saying hello to her. I said she's going to look at me and say, "What? Are you kidding me?" I mean, I was an old guy already. I was in my 50s, and she was really put together. She still is. She was put together. And I'm like, she's going to tell me to go hit the road, but she didn't. But the transformation for me for that was I went from living in the past to now, even though I didn't say hello to her, I wanted to see her the next day, and the next day after that, and the next day after that. So my life changed like that. It went from living in the past to now living in the present and the future.
And
Because now
hoping for the future.
I was looking forward to seeing her tomorrow and another tomorrows. And to me, that's an incredible story by
You
itself.
had aspirations.
I did.
That's
I
what
did.
it is.
I was trying to figure out, why am I still alone? I was never married. Why am I alone? I mean, I'm not trying to brag, right? But I did a lot.
Bragging rights.
I did a lot of good things. I took care of both my father and my mother on home care before they passed away.
Oh, wow.
And there was a lot that went into that, and that's where a lot of the beating that I was giving myself that morning was over things that had happened, things that I had no control over. I mean, I don't want to say I was crying, but I was literally crying out for help. And I'm like, but God, I just want to know if there's somebody in my life.
Oh.
And I used to justify it by saying things like, maybe God is trying to spare me because maybe I wouldn't be any good at it. God only gives you what he thinks that you can handle. So that's how I was justifying
So
it.
you didn't think he gave you a woman because he didn't think you could handle one.
I didn't think I
You
could
need to stop it, Robert.
I didn't think I could. No, I'm serious. That's exactly.
But you know what? To be totally honest with you, though, that's what, a lot of things that people think of, and they put themselves down and knock their own, they knock their own futuristic ideals because of the fact of the little man that sits in the back of the head and be like, no, you can't. That's like on the cartoons. You know how they had the devil on this side with the little pitchfork. I mean, on this side with the little pitchfork, and then they and the tail, and then they got the little angel on this side, and then you got the one saying,
you get a lot of that battles. There are a lot of those battles.
It's a lot of mental. I'm trying to say, man, it's so many it's a struggle right now in this world for mental wellness, I'll say. It's a lot of mental illness in the world, but it's a struggle for mental wellness because of the battle that goes on inside of our heads. And it's a battle that's private to us individually, but actually it's a battle that is known to many.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, and I believe very strongly in this. This is something that I think in fact, I know I did. I was discussing on the show Saturday with Sam and Bobby. It's a script that I wrote a few years ago that now I'm going to start pitching. I already started pitching it, and I've even gone back to do revisions of it because I know that it's such a powerful script. Something that we don't see these days is I call it acts of kindness, where you can show kindness to somebody, even somebody you don't know. Why does it have to be somebody we know to be kind? Why not be kind to somebody you don't know? Or for that matter, somebody who maybe you don't like that much?
Yeah.
It's easy to show kindness to somebody who you like, not so easy to show kindness to somebody who you have a little issue with.
Right.
That's hard. That's
And you
very
remember,
hard.
I put in the comments when you made that statement
Uh,
Saturday, I said, that's odd because I'm the opposite. I show kindness to
I
people I don't
know. I
even have
remember you
the
say
feel
that.
of. And I'm gonna tell you, it's funny you said that because Saturday, what's the day? Monday, um, Friday, Friday, I was downtown and I went to go to Trader Joe's
Hmm.
grocery store because I was on the north side and I was coming back in. And there was this guy, and he was walking down the street and he was looking in garbage and stuff and rumbling. He had messed on himself and everything. Give me 1 second. I just want to say, good morning, Sharp. Thank you for joining
Oh,
us.
Charles there.
I got your guy.
Charles there.
And Sharon Rosa May, thank you for joining us. So back to what I was saying. So I wanted to, I saw him and I was going in my car and I put something in my car and I wanted to go across the street because directly across the street is a Five Guys. And I said, I had taste for some of their French fries. You know, I'm vegan. So when I say vegan, let me tell you, I just eat food. I just don't eat meat and dairy.
Mhm.
But I eat food because vegan is, and people take vegan way out of proportion. It's just eating natural foods. That's all.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm not.
Vegetables and fruits. That's all. Not
I
eating
don't eat
any meat
meat.
and
I don't
any
eat
dairy.
anything.
That's all it is to it. It's still food. The same food you eat, but without the meat and the dairy. So anyway, I go and I was going across the street to go to Five Guys, and I'm looking at this guy. And in my show, the closing of my show, I always tell people to reach back and give back. Somebody out there needs your smile. Somebody needs to hear some kind
Mhm.
words from you. Somebody might need a prayer. Somebody might need a bottle of water or a bag of chips, or maybe a few dollars or a sandwich.
Right.
Yeah, I take that to my own because I work, I do things for the homeless here all the time. Is it a group of them that I do for all the time? The same people? No, I go wherever I see the homelessness population. If I got things, I just go
Mhm.
and help them with whatever it is. If I have something that they need, I give it to them. Yes, I am. And so this guy, I sat there and I looked at him and I was getting across the street. And it was so busy. Well, I turned around. I said, "Are you hungry?" He
Mhm.
said, "Come on. Do you want a burger?" He said, I said, "Would you like Five Guys?" He said, I said,
Wow.
"Okay, come on." He said, "I can't go in there." I said, "Huh?" He said, "I can't go in there. They ain't gonna let me come in there." I said, "You want something to eat, right?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You're not going in there begging, right?" He said, "No." I said, "I'm buying it. Come on." He said, "Oh no, they ain't gonna let me go in there." I said, "Do you want something to eat or not?" He said, I said, "Come on, listen to me. Come on, trust me." He said, "They ain't gonna let me in there." I said, "Okay, you're gonna stay right here in the middle of the street and keep telling me they ain't gonna let you in there and you're gonna be starving because I'm gonna go in and get what I need to get and I'm gonna leave. So do you want something to eat or not? If you do, you better come on."
Did he go in?
He came, he finally came. I said, "Come inside." Who are they to tell you can't come inside? Because I'm finna buy you something to eat. It ain't like you begged me while I was in the store. I'm taking it upon myself to buy you something to eat. But I'm not,
Mhm.
I ain't your waiter.
Right.
So come get your own food. You know what I'm saying? Tell them what you want on your burger.
Well, the one thing that you did by doing that, which is actually pretty incredible. There are not too many people that would do that. Is you're encouraging him to stand up on his own, because he's probably been told, God knows how many years, that you're not good for nothing, and so therefore we don't want you in this store. And so he convinced himself, I'm not wanted in there because I'm not good enough. So by you doing that, you may have broken that shell that he was living in, and that maybe it's just the beginning of what could be
He
something
stood there and
positive.
I said, "Order your food." I want a cheeseburger. I said, "Tell him what you want on it." I said, "Do you want fries?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you want something to drink?" He said, "Yeah, I want strawberry shake."
Yeah.
I died
Hey,
laughing.
listen.
I say,
Hey,
"Get a
listen.
man."
If you're buying, I'm there.
Hey, I say, "Get a man whatever he asked for."
Yeah.
Yeah, I say, "Okay." I said, "Okay, how much?" It was 20 something dollars. I said, "Okay, all
You
right, here
know,
you go."
you know what, Neela? I think the one thing, and I mean, I hear this all the time. I think my wife and I do this ourselves occasionally. But it doesn't really solve the problem. I think
No.
if there's one thing that I think that we could do as a society
Mhm.
is, and of course you want to teach this from youth so that as you get older, you don't fall into that same trap. And I don't want to say, well, we have to forget about the older ones now because they're already dead set in their ways. But there are ways to do this where you can promote work, where you can promote the ability to take care of yourself. What is that saying? You give a man a fish and you feed
Fish.
him for a day.
Okay.
You teach a
Teach a
man how to
man to
fish
fish,
and you feed him for a
and
lifetime.
he'll be able to feed himself for a lifetime.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
Exactly. So
Exactly. I use
using
that
that
all the time.
principle, using that principle, and it's something that I wish. I mean, I don't want to say I wish that somebody would do that. We could all maybe do that in some ways, but we need to promote more of that. I would like to see even people like our own congressional leaders, people that are uh, that work for us, because whether they realize it or not, they work for us. They're temporary employees, thanks to us. I'd like to see them promote programs like that. And I'm not talking about just giving them something so that we can just, oh, we'll forget about them, just giving them
I
the
know.
money and then, no, actually have programs that teach people how to take care
Yeah,
of
he's carrying
themselves.
themselves. I'm gonna go in the comments. Shar did say, "Good morning, Neela and Robert." She said, "Destiny," and then she said, "Lester is very intuitive." Sharon Rosa May, which is another artsy patartsy. She's another fartsy artsy person. Love Sharon Rosa May. She said, "Yeah, as my mama used to say, it's not in our time." Remember, you were talking about
Yep.
50 something years old, you had never been married, blah, blah. You thought, well,
Mm-hmm.
maybe God didn't, well, maybe, you always felt that God gives you whatever he thinks you can handle. And you thought, well, maybe I can handle a woman because he won't give
Yep.
me one. Child, bye. That was your stinking thinking. I just got to say, I've been in sales a long time, Robert.
Right.
I was in door-to-door sales for 15 years, door-to-door sales for
Okay.
15 years. I was one of their top saleswomen, one of several. And I became their rookie of the year. And then I became the first female in the company to acquire a status that only men had. Boop. And so I broke in that door on them. But I'm here to tell you, one thing about it, we talk ourselves into any demise. God
Mm-hmm.
has given us
Yes.
like they tell you, my thoughts are not your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts definitely ain't mine.
Yeah.
So when he's saying that, when you think about that statement, it's like my thoughts are so vast and broad. The world, God's thoughts are so vast and broad
Mm-hmm.
because He is God of the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So when we think that He is God of the world and I am God, and if you put your trust in me,
Mm-hmm.
and all these other things will be added unto you,
Yes.
trust in the kingdom and all that. So you got to trust now. What you're speaking is trusting in the kingdom. You're trusting in the
Well,
process.
when you see all of the examples, and I've seen quite a few now, you've seen all of the examples of everything that's going on. Eventually, at some point in time, you have to just say to yourself, "This is too coincidental." All of these things that happen, and I think maybe you need to start recognizing where this is all coming from. This isn't
Exactly.
just coming from me. This is coming from divine intervention. So I mean, there were so many things that happened. I actually wish I had the time to go through because there were so many examples of it in my life from when my mom and dad were sick. So many things that happened. It was very rough. It was very tough. I think it made me stronger, more responsible as a human being. Because if people did what I had to do to take care of both of my parents, and these are things that you would never want to have to do for your mom and dad. I mean, I wouldn't wish it on anybody to have to do this, but it's something I had to do because there was nobody else that was going to do it. I was their only kid. Uh, so I just think that all of these examples in life are reasons to be hopeful and say, you know what, somebody's looking up for me. There's no question. It's got to be because they have all of this going on right now on top of everything else that happened before. To me, I find it amazing. I really do. And I don't even think I've touched, and I haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg yet.
That's the funny thing. Totally amazing. I got to go into the comments real quick here. Rosa May said, things happen in God's time is a good time. It's a good time. That's what she said. Things happen in your, because I'd never finished her comment because we went into something else about it. She said, things happen in your life when they are supposed to. God is always working all things out for our good. Trust the fact. And you did. And you said you trusted the fact, but you also have footwork. Faith is dead, right? Faith without footwork is dead. Because how can you have faith, but yet you're afraid to step out on it? You have to step out on faith, right? God is one guy. He's going to open the doors for you, but God ain't finna come downstairs and say, hey, come on, boy, walk down this.
Right.
Walk through this door. Would you come on? You know, he ain't going to stand right there in front of you saying that, but he might put somebody else in front of you.
You just explained that moment a moment ago with the homeless man who you showed in. You wanted him to go in and make that challenge because that was a challenge for him to do that. So you're right.
I told him, I said, I'm not going to order your food for you. I said, I'm not Hazel. I ain't your private housekeeper. Or your maid. You come on. And he's like, I said, do what? And then he said that, what you want to do?
You remember that show, Hazel?
Yeah.
Oh, I used to watch that years ago.
That's telling I ain't. Look, Rosa May say all things. And she said, good morning, Tammy Peel. And Sharon says, Rosa May said, yes, he was conditioned by the people in that store, that young man we were talking about, to think that he was not enough. That story brings tears to my eyes. Watch how you treat people, for God is in all of us.
Yeah.
You know, he says, for each one of those that you mistreat, you mistreating me. Right? Is that what? I don't say it verbatimly how the Bible said, but baby, I can quote some stuff. I mean, not quote verbatimly, but I can quote some stuff out there from you, from the Bible.
You know what? I was actually, I just had this conversation. I mean, with somebody I know here in the neighborhood. And I just mentioned it a moment ago that it's so easy to be kind to somebody who you know well, who you like, but it's not so easy to be kind to somebody who you don't know or you don't like. Then you're really challenging yourself. And so often we are, I don't know, I guess maybe for the lack of a better word, we just don't try hard enough. And when somebody says something about you that is hurtful, it's very difficult to just deflect it and say, whatever. It hurts. It hits you and it hurts. No matter how much you say, oh, I don't believe it, that sticks with you. It sticks with you for a long time. And then as you compound all of these, one after another, all of a sudden you start building up this anxiety of, I don't believe in what I can do. And to prove that point, what I just said, through Lester, I've met other people in the business, actors, actresses, and directors. Another young lady you have to have on your show at some point, and I think Char knows who I'm talking about, is Naz Pankey. Now, she has an incredible story that will inspire anybody when it comes to challenging yourself, because she grew up in the Bronx, South Bronx, only a few miles from where I grew up, because I grew up in the South Bronx, but I grew up many years before she did there. And she went through, I'm not going to go through it, but she went through a lot of horrible stuff. And she persevered and is now a successful director, producer, and now even an actress, because she's starting to do that as well. And all of that because she trusted in herself and she trusted in God.
Wow, that's amazing. Just to hear that.
And since I pitched her, I'm gonna pitch her book too. I'm pitching
Ah!
books. I always do that. I always do that.
Hey,
I
hey,
try,
Robert,
try to
that's
find
funny.
a
You
way.
do something else.
I try
I'm
to find a
gonna
way to
close
get
these
this in. I
comments, but
try
I'm
to
gonna
find
tell
a
you
way.
all the stuff you saying has been really hitting on head. Rosamay says, treat people for the God is in all of us. And be the difference said, I agree. Rosa said this though. She said, Neela, I thank God for this message this morning. She
Mm.
said, girlie, continue to let God lead you. She said, you are a blessing, girlie. Talking about me, I guess with that young man.
Mm.
Then Rosalind said, faith without action leaves one with no results.
Mm.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
then you must employ action with your faith. Exactly.
Mm.
Always. And then Divine said, when you've done it unto the least of these,
Mm.
that's the statement in the Bible
Right.
that I was trying to mention. I didn't have it verbatim, but it's like, if you do this to the least, if you do it to the least of these, if you do it to one of these, who
Mm.
I call my child as well,
Right.
then you've done it to me. That's just
Mm.
like doing it. You do something bad to one of them, you did it to me.
Well,
Like it's like me, like with my daughter. You go
I
up to my
want to.
daughter and you slap her and hit her with a baseball bat. You just slap me and hit me with one. Now I'm finna get a baseball bat because I'm gonna come back with an attack. I ain't gonna lie,
Yeah.
especially when
Yeah.
you talk about harming my child.
Yeah.
Me
But
or my
I wanted to say something on this topic. It was the reason I brought Naz into this discussion.
okay.
Now, keep in mind, I was only in my new field, my second career, a very short period of time. And Lester was the one who brought me in. So one day, I think, I don't know, it was just one of those days. And I had everybody telling me the whole day, oh, what are you talking about? You're not going to succeed at this. I mean, you're kidding yourself. Look, you're an old guy now. How could you think that you could possibly be a writer at this stage of the game? And I had this going on and on. It was like the devil was on overtime that day. And he just kept hitting me one after another, that by the time I got home that night, I
You
was
were punch
feeling
drunk.
so bad. I mean, I was drunk with pain. I mean, I really was.
You was punch drunk. He
Oh my
punched you with
God.
so many negative. Bam,
Oh
bam.
my
You remember
God.
that little? You
Let
remember
me
that
say,
little Rock'em Sock'em Robot? Remember those?
well, I do.
Bam, bam,
I
bam.
remember. Well, that night, I texted Lester and I said to him, I said, Lester, hey, listen, I appreciate everything that you did, but I don't think this is for me because it seems like nobody thinks anything of me, of it. So I think maybe I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit something that I haven't even started yet. So he gets on the phone. He calls me. He says, "What are you talking about, Robert? You just stay right there." And he gets Naz on the phone, and the two of them are literally walking me back off the cliff of getting ready to stop of doing something. And I'm glad that they did that. But that goes to their spirit of who they are. I was showing the signs of doubt. I was showing the signs of throwing in the towel, of giving up.
Yeah.
They were showing me a different sign. So you tell me, where is that coming from? That's coming from a much higher power
Mm-hmm.
for them to do that. Now, this was at midnight. How many people at midnight are going to want to get on the phone? Oh, if he wants to quit, let him quit. You know, it's his fault. That's his problem.
Wait,
I
and then
got
tell
my
me
own problem. I got to go to sleep.
right.
You know, I got to get up tomorrow. Well, but they didn't do that. They got on the phone and they literally worked me at a point that I finally said, you know what, you're right. This is pretty stupid. And so, what was it like? A month later, we're on the phone, and Naz is telling me, you know what? I'm going to produce this new web series. Would you be interested in writing an episode for it. I said, you kidding? Of course. So I write an episode. This is going to flip you out. I write this episode. It's called, you may have seen it. I may have sent it to you. Or if I didn't, let me know. I'll send it to you. Way to a Woman's Heart.
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
Let me tell you.
I
was watching it this weekend, right? I went to go click into it. And for some reason, I was moving. When I got to my location, I could not get my phone to work. Then I got home later that night and I got sleepy and I forgot. So I'm still going to go back and watch it again. I'm going to watch it while it's on my computer.
You are going to like that story. You are going to, and not just because I wrote it, you're going to like that story. Because the interesting caveat to all of this is I wrote this for Naz's series. I asked her, do me a favor. I want you to be an actress. I know you don't usually do that. You're normally behind the camera. I want you to step in front of the camera and be an actress. I'm writing this role for you. And she's like, really? I said, yeah, I'm writing this role for you. Apparently, another actor who I knew before is now going to be partnered with her in this same script. Guess what happens? In real life, they fell in love. Figure that out. If Naz had not done her intervention with me, I would never have written that script. And if I had not written that script, the two of them may never have met. So you tell me, what do you think that's about? There's something at work here. And if people can't see it, then they're blind. And I don't mean blind in eyesight. I mean blind here.
It's a God move. And Sharon said, let me tell you, this is so amazing. I just love this show this morning. And Divine said, okay, we got that. Sharon said, try what Robert just said. It really feels good and tingly inside when you love on your haters. Remember when you were talking about, right? And then Randall, hey, Randall Turk is on the show. He's watching from afar at the doctor's office. He said, hello, everybody. He's in for his second treatment. He said, I'm gonna have to go back and watch this show again on it when he gets home. And Divine said, this was definitely meant for me this morning, this show. Thank you, definitely. Now, Rosalind said, Rosalind says, can you show the names of those books one more time? First of all, let's show the Lester Green.
I'd love to. I'd love to.
Act like you love yourself by Lester Green. Act like you love yourself.
Correct. It's a quick read. It's a quick read, but it's a good read. It's a quick read, and it should. And I'm going to tell you, I think schools should get it because I think more kids need to be exposed to what's in that book.
Exactly.
And then the other one is my other friend, Naz Pankey.
Naz Pankey. And I spelled it wrong. I said N-A-S. Naz Pankey. Evergreen, Uprooted, Memoirs of Secret.
This is from when she was a little girl and all of the trauma that she went through. And she went through a lot of trauma. This is somebody who you would want to get on your show when you consider the fact that everything that she went through, she persevered and succeeded after the fact to become what she is now. And now she's revered because of all the things that she's done, including directing, producing, acting, writing. I think it's about to release. She wrote a movie called Gerald's Hands, an incredible movie. It's about bullying, and we all know what those guys are like, bullies. And it's a story about a man played by Andrew R. McAllister, who is now Naz's boyfriend, who I wrote that script for. And the two of them team up to do this movie, and it's about autism, but it's also about bullying. It is such a great movie. My wife and I, we both saw it. It is such a terrific movie, and this will give you an insight of who she is, and how she treats life.
I had a young man on my show.
She has a kid who has autism.
I had a kid on my show, a young man, actually, he's a grown man now, who has autism.
Mhm.
And it was amazing the stuff that he came on. Very intelligent, highly
Mhm.
super bright,
Highly functional, highly functional.
highly
And that,
functional.
and Naz's son fits that description.
See,
And he's working for the fire department. All right. So what does that tell you?
see
But
what I'm saying?
bullies will pick on people that they think, that they perceive to be weaker than they are.
Hmm.
And
Always.
people are bullies every day. There's bullies out there all the time. They're at work.
Hmm.
They're everywhere. They're on the street.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
bully, bully, bully. Carjackers. As long as they got a gun, they bullies. Here in
And
Chicago.
listen, bullies are even people who you work with. They're
Yeah,
colleagues. They don't
colleagues.
have
Yeah,
to pull out a gun. All they
nope.
have to do is just belittle you and make you like that.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
and
you
they
got people at
succeeded.
work that want to try to knock you down, don't want to
Yeah.
see you rise, all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff. Oh, honey, bye. Yes, honey,
Let me
yes,
tell you,
indeed.
they're out there all the time. The negativity is with you everywhere, and you have to combat it. You really do. You almost have to go home when you do, and you have to almost try and flush all of it out by whatever means that you can. Because if you don't, you would almost have what almost happened to me. Because I was about to give up on something that is pretty special in my life. I was about to give up on a creative career, all because a few bullies that day took advantage of me, and I let them. But not anymore.
Mm-mm. Amazing. I just actually signed up for stage 32.
Good for you. Good.
Thank you, Robert.
Good.
I
I
appreciate
might be
that.
seeing you there. I might be seeing you there.
Yes, you will be seeing me there. You certainly will be seeing me there quite soon. Um, I want to ask you one quick thing before we go, and that is in the event that you come across someone that wants you to write
Mhm.
for them, how would you go about doing that? Like,
Well, I've done that. There's a producer who was actually, he lives here in New York, and he had given me 3 projects to write, feature film
okay.
projects to write. One that could start filming uh, soon, a holiday film. So the producer, his name is Antoine Allen. He's from Forest Hills, New York. If you look him up, you'll see some of the films that he's done. And he had tasked me with 3 projects to create dialogue based on his storylines. It's a little harder to write a script for somebody else's story because you have to be on target for them as opposed to writing your own story.
Hmm.
Writing your own story, you know how it's got to go. You know
Hmm.
the direction that you want it to go. Even if you have to go back and rewrite it, it's only because you want to do a revision because something hit a nerve and then you wanted to rewrite it. But when you're writing somebody else's story, this is their personality. This is their insights. And you have to, it's a real collaborative effort. And you have to be on point because this is their story. You have to honor their story because if you don't, well, it's not going to get released
Hmm. Exactly.
or filmed.
That's amazing. Well, I'm gonna wish you the well. Let me get to these last comments to say. Rosalind says we are all connected, and Divine says yes, Rosalind, we are. And Rosalind says act like you love yourself by Lester Green. Also, Evergreen Uprooted by Naz Pankey. And Randall said most bullies are weak inside and have been hurt, and hurt people hurt people. Um,
Mhm.
hey, Wellness, thank you for joining us this morning. So, everybody, Robert, is there anything you would like to leave with our viewers this morning before we go?
Yeah, I would just repeat what I said before. Acts of kindness. Be kind. Char actually had a program that I was on with Lester a month or so ago, and that was the theme of her show was acts of kindness. And I said, wow, what a terrific show to put together because you have to recognize it, you have to promote it,
Mhm.
to make it a part of our lives. Acts of kindness. It's not that hard. It really isn't. If you do it enough, it gets easier. You know, the old saying, and I said this on Sam and Bobby's show, when you do a good deed every day, how many times that we used to hear that years ago? Do one good deed a day. And if you can do one, you might end up doing 2 or 3 or more, because it gets easier as you keep doing it.
You right
That's
about
my
that.
that's my call out.
That's your
Acts
call.
of kindness.
I love it. I love it. And that's something I implore every day. And in the meantime and in between time, everybody remember this: reach back and give back. Somebody out there needs your smile. Somebody needs to hear some kind words from you. Somebody might need a prayer. They might need a bottle of water, a bag of chips, or maybe a sandwich. If you got some extra food lying around the house before it goes bad, why don't you fix a nice little old plate up or something and package it up nicely and take it out? And the first person you see that looks hungry or homeless standing outside, give them something to eat. Ask them if they're hungry first, and then give them something to eat. One thing about helping people: help people in the way that you want to help them, but also help them in the way that it's going to help them and not you. Help them, so like
Right.
you can ask a person. Like the other day, I went out to eat, and I had the rest of what I didn't eat, and I didn't slop over it. I had separated it on the plate and pushed it to the side, didn't mess with it, scooped it into the container. And I asked this man standing on the corner, "Hey, are you hungry?" He said, he was looking in his cart, his little shopping cart. He had a little shopping cart of stuff he had been collecting. I said, "Hey, by the way, are you hungry?" He said, "No." See, I'm not going to just say here and give somebody something, and I know they don't
Yeah,
want
they're going
it.
to throw it away.
Toss it. I'm going to wait and give it to somebody that needs it. So remember to reach back and give back. And somebody out there does need to hear from you and hear a smile, a kind word, something. They might even need a few dollars. Once again, if the Spirit puts it on your heart to allow you to let go of something, please open yourself up and give it away, because the Spirit is trying to move you in a direction that it needs you to move into, so that they can do something even more so for you as you do something for them. Trust and believe in the process, people, the process. Once again, God loves you. We need to learn to love ourselves to the point that we can love each other unconditionally. Act like you love yourself. Bam! You know what I'm saying? Act like you love yourself. Even if you don't, fake it until you make it. Boop! Somebody
Wow,
out
my wife just said that yesterday. My wife just said that yesterday. I can't
Fake
believe you
it
said
until you make
that.
it.
I can't believe you just said that.
See how God puts people on the same accord? That lets you know the accord is on the same level. That lets you know we are all pushing for the same thing. So that's a good thing that your wife said that yesterday. And here I'm saying it again today.
Well,
That's
she believes in me. She believes in me.
Yeah, that's confirmation right there, Robert, for you and for me and for her. It's just confirmation. That was the confirmation you needed. It was what your wife said yesterday, and to hear it come back out of my mouth today. Two
The next
totally
day.
different women.
The next day.
Yeah, two totally different women. That is the confirmation that God is giving you, so that you don't lose step in the process.
That's right. That's
Remember
right.
that. Because if you
Very
heard it
powerful.
yesterday and you hear it again
Very
today,
powerful.
yes. And then if you hear it tomorrow, oh, that's going to seal the coffin shut. I just want you to know that, okay? And also, Randall said, raise the vibration of good, raise the frequency of love for all mankind. This has been a wonderful show today. I really appreciate you, Robert, taking time out to come and join us this morning, especially after
Thank you.
Just Saturday. I want to let you know, I might have one more person that I might want to push you off to.
Okay.
And they are in the industry. They're a comedian, and a couple other things that you just might be hearing from me again about coming on to somebody else's show. So stay tuned to that. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep your number for myself because I want to connect with you on another level. Everybody, remember this: God loves you. You and me and everybody needs to learn to love ourselves a lot better, and so that we can love each other a whole lot more than what we've been doing. Show a lot more humanity towards each other. Okay. And also, y'all already know the dealio: love, peace, soul, and hair grease. And if your scalp is itching, you better wash. before you condition. And Robert, give me 1 second. I'm going to come right back to you for the closing. Woo! And yes, we are back. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Like Turk says, great show. Roslyn said, great show. Thank you. You're very welcome, Roslyn. Turk said, the law of reciprocity. And Divine said, amazing show. Be the difference. Love you, Sister Joy. And see you guys. Everybody, God bless you. Robert, thank you once again for taking the time out to join me this morning. And I do look forward to staying in touch with you on other things. Peace out. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for joining me, people. See you all tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time on what? In My Element with Neela and who? Turk will be here tomorrow morning for you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Go and enjoy Juneteenth, everybody. Peace out.